Hey, hello everyone. A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. If you remember, the last video I had posted was about timing marriage and using the transits of Jupiter and Saturn, which are the most important planets when it comes to timing an event. And again, this is not, I would say, a very close timing, but it will definitely give you the broad indications of specific events that one could expect. So you could use that as a guiding principle. For example, if someone is hoping to get married or get their children married, and definitely you can look at the transits of Jupiter and Saturn as a guide, and then maybe of course get more aggressive in searching for alliances and those kind of stuff. So basically it's like giving you some guidance saying that this is the right time. So somewhere you can also consider it as a kind of signaling where certain events are definitely a possibility, and obviously if they are benefic events, then you can try your best to make the most of it. And then if there are and then if it is giving indications of malefic event, then obviously you will have to take precautionary measures by way of remedies and anything else that is possible to circumvent or at least alleviate the overall malefic effects, right? uh, Now, this chart, right, is again of a very good friend, close friend of mine, and I would say this video is again a continuation of being able to predict marriage using the transits of Jupiter and Saturn. I also received a few comments where somebody was requesting me to do a chart where you are able to time when one will get a job or anything related to job, and I have that in mind, and maybe in the subsequent episodes I'll definitely do one or two charts explaining the same using the transits of Jupiter and Saturn. That said, while I definitely practice Vedic astrology, in the last couple of years, I have also been extensively exploring other forms of astrology like Persian astrology, the Greek astrology, their techniques. Some of them are bloody complex. Of course, I know I love to experiment with them, but it's only because of paucity of time that I'm not able to really do a lot more research in those aspects. But shortly I will try and also show some of the techniques that were used during the Hellenistic and Greek era, and how they used to do chart analysis and timing. And somewhere, apart from the transits of Jupiter and Saturn, it is quite helpful to use those techniques to narrow down the timing of certain events. So hopefully in the future episodes I'll be able to cover that. And I'll try to make it non-technical because there's a lot of calculation that goes behind. But I will try using techniques like solar return, which is basically Varshafal chart, and then how that can be used to pinpoint sometimes even the month of the event. Okay, with that Gyanbazi, let me now go to this particular chart. Now this person, right, got married in 2010. Okay, I have already set the transit using my software. Okay, so the name of the software that I use is Bindu. It's from a friend of mine who is a very popular Persian astrologer by the name Ehsan Kazemi. Okay, and this is the software I use, especially when it comes to doing Vedic astrology. But for other forms of astrology, I have invested in a different set of softwares. Okay, now this person got married in 2010. Okay, let me get my pen. So this person got married in 2010 in the month of November. And now if we look at the transit positions, right, transit Saturn was in Virgo. So transit Saturn was in Virgo. Okay, and transit Jupiter was in Aquarius. Okay, so the one that you see, transit Saturn in Virgo and transit Jupiter in Aquarius. Now here is the beauty. If you see many of the classics, they talk about looking at transits from the moon Some of the Nadi astrologers or many of the Nadi astrologers get better results when they look at transits from the Lagna. Even personally, I have seen many a times transits work better from the Lagna, but it again depends from horoscope to horoscope, and sometimes you will have to look at transits from both angles. Okay, now coming back to this particular chart where this person got married in 2010 in the month of November with the transit Jupiter and Saturn positions as displayed on the screen. If you really see, if you look at connection with the seventh house or the seventh lord, if you really see transit Jupiter 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, so as such it is not making any aspect with the seventh house, a fifth aspect, or even it is not making any aspect with the seventh lord, which is moon. Similarly, if you look at Saturn here, even Saturn as such is not really making any aspect either with the seventh house or with the seventh lord. Right? Now, does this mean that the principle has failed or there are some exceptions? Not really. So here is where you will have to look at the chart from a different angle. And if you see, I also have a moon chart. Okay. Now, same chart. Okay. Here see, all I have done is I have made moon as the Lagna. Okay. So this chart and this chart are identical. Okay. There is no difference. All I have done is made moon as the Lagna. And now I am again respecting the guidance given by our sages, where you also have to look at transits from the moon. Okay, going back, let's blow up this chart. Okay, now this is the same chart where we have made moon as the Lagna. Okay, and now see how things play out. Okay, now transit Jupiter. Okay, which is, just a minute, I need to rub a few things so that you don't get confused. Bear with me, please. Okay, now we know that transit Jupiter, okay, was in Aquarius, and transit Saturn, okay, was in Virgo. Now see the beauty. Transit Saturn has direct 10th aspect on the 7th house from the moon. Okay, transit Saturn has the 10th aspect on the 7th house, and transit Jupiter has the 5th aspect on the 7th house from the moon. 1 2 3 4 5. So transit Jupiter aspects the 7th house via its 5th aspect, transit Saturn via its 10th aspect. Right? Apart from that, transit Saturn also has its 3rd aspect on the 7th lord Mercury. So you have transit Jupiter aspecting the 7th house from the moon, transit Saturn aspecting the 7th house from the moon, and transit Saturn aspecting the 7th lord from the moon. So now you have enough confirmation that during this period marriage could have been a very strong probability, and this person got married during this period. So all I'm trying to say is that you will have to view the horoscope from different angles, and I keep saying this again and again in every video of mine. So always remember that you don't have to confine yourself to viewing transits only from the moon. You should look at transits from the Lagna, especially when it comes to events like timing job changes and promotions. I have seen many times that transits work better from the moon, sometimes only from the Lagna, sometimes only from the moon, and sometimes from both. So make sure that you don't miss out looking at transits from the moon as well, and stay tuned for more interesting videos related to transits of Jupiter and Saturn. And slowly I'll also try to bring in other methods like solar returns and how to use transits in that, and how to go with a more fine-tuned approach to timing your events within a particular year. Thank you, and have a nice rest of the week.